My interview with Leah Gooch was an absolute pleasure of an interview. One, because she is a dear friend and it's always a joy to talk to her. But two, because her work is so meaningful and so inspiring to me and has been since I met her. The fact that she can go into the prison system with, and this is something I mentioned in the podcast I so admire about her, with this insight into what is needed and how to deliver what is needed and feel protected and grounded in herself is what I really find inspiring about her. And she talks a little bit when we touch on Reiki, she talks about creating energetic spaces around her body that allow for a sense of safety. She talked about envisioning the golden light and the pyramids. And I've worked with different therapists and energy workers throughout my life who have talked about creating an energy field in order to protect your inner landscape while you interact with the world around you. And I think what's so special about Leah is that she can go into spaces that are really energetically dense. A correctional facility is a very energetically demanding, energetically heavy space. And she can go into that space with light and with warmth and with insight and with humor and with tools of service, and give those to people who are struggling. And I find that so inspiring because I know there have been times in my life where I feel so emotionally or energetically susceptible to a heavy and intense uh, opposing or external energy. And it's easy, right? She talks about this too in her first experience with meditation with her art class of kids, where she shifted the frequency in the room and all of the children jumped on board and shared that frequency with her of love and calm and groundedness. And she was that focal point for that energetic experience. And I sometimes can feel a bit like a tuning fork when I enter a room. The energy can really just can grab me and move me, and I've gotten a lot better at creating that energetic space and also working um to have a strong enough energy output that I can actually adjust the frequency of an experience versus the other way around. And I think that that's something Leah was born with, and definitely is cultivated over time. But I find it. I am grateful for it. The way she was saying, I don't want to be a correctional officer. So thanks so much to those people for doing the work they do. I'm so grateful that someone like Leah exists who can go and look people in the eye and own that room and do what needs to be done and share this really meaningful work and stay who she is and stay energized and stay grounded. So really a joy to talk to her. I love too her willingness to explore her psychic capacities, her clairvoyant capacities. And I do mention in our podcast how I've had metaphysical experiences in my life, and they are not uncommon for me. And I love them and revel in them. I also have a brother who has schizoaffective disorder. And when his illness really became manifest, I questioned everything about my inner landscape, and I became very fearful of the experiences that I have in my life that up until that time had felt very joyful and very full of magic and mysticism and insight, suddenly felt scary and potentially insidious or false or indicative of some sort of mental instability. And I heard a quote from a dear friend and spiritual advisor who I would actually love to invite on this show. Her name is Rua Bull. And I can't recall who the quote is by, I'll look it up and put it in the show notes. It is that the mystic swims in the same river that the psychotic drowns in. And I thought, oh, that's beautiful, and that feels right. That feels good. You can play in an ethereal space. You can engage with the mysteries of life, and still stay here and now and exist and function in this world and do the rote, the mundane, the typical that life requires of you, and find that play space. It's a balance. And I love Leah's willingness to own her unusual, otherwise abilities and incorporate them into her work in prisons and incorporate them into who she is, and to speak about them with confidence and clarity, and to cultivate those skills is super inspiring for me, and I'm sure for all of you. And it's a really beautiful thing to know that somebody like that is out there in the world endeavoring to help us all be a little bit better. And I love that she's as focused on the correctional officers and the prison staff and the whole, structure of the penal system in New York, which is where her work is based out of, as she is with the inmates themselves. And I completely agree that it's a multifaceted project, and it isn't just about working with one group of people, although of course she specializes, and specialization is very helpful, but continuing that work, seeing how it expands out, seeing who participates in the lives of a group of people that you're working with who can help be of service, and seeing where those people might need help as well. It's a really caring perspective. It's very holistic, and yeah, so it was a true joy to be able to connect with Leah. I hope you all enjoyed this podcast, and stay tuned for the next episode. And thank you so much.
Thanks so much again for tuning in. Hopefully there was something in that episode that inspired you that you can take with you throughout the week. Please be sure to like this episode, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and share this with a friend or family member. They might find it useful also. If you want to learn more about us, you can do so at otherwisewithjaneharvey.com, and be sure to sign up for our newsletter, Music by Dash Positive. And if you want this episode in audio form, you can listen to it wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.